Welcome back. In this section, we will check out the post-process effects. After the introduction to the post-process effects, we will set up the scene and take a look at each effect individually. We will use the high-definition render pipeline since it is more extensive in this regard. Let's begin with the definition. Post-process effects are full-screen filters and effects applied to camera's image buffer before the image is displayed on the screen. Think of Instagram filters and you will get the idea. While Instagram filters make use only of the color information of the image, post-process effects used in 3D applications can make use of the depth and motion information as well. Motion blur, depth of field, vignette, and anti-aliasing are a few examples of post-process effects. Depending on the data these effects make use of and the calculations they are applying to the data, post-process effects can be quite costly in terms of performance. So let's set up the environment. I will make use of the Seed Hunter asset by Polygonautic. For some reason, this asset didn't work with Unity 2019.3.0a11, so I downloaded a more recent beta version, 2019.3.0b2. It shouldn't be a problem for you, because by the time this course goes live, the alpha version will not be available anyway. And even if it is, there is absolutely no reason to prefer it over a more recent version of Unity 2019.3. Create a new HDRP project. Before you proceed, open up the HD Render Pipeline wizard from the window Render Pipeline menu. You might see some errors. Click on Fix All buttons. You might want to skip the VR though, we won't be using it. During this process, Unity might ask you to restart the editor. Do it and repeat the process until all errors are fixed. Finally, download and import the asset from the asset store. Open up the Seed Hunter scene and let's see what we have here. It's a beautiful scene with a lot of post-processing going on. I will make use of the chamber part of the scene. Delete the hallway camera. Delete all of the hallway related objects except for the timeline prop switch and the gate frame. Finally, delete the hallway lights, light probes, and the FX game object. Now the scene should be much lighter. HDRP already includes the post-processing implementation, so you don't have to download anything else. This implementation uses the volume system. Volume, as you can tell by the name, defines a volume in the scene used by certain settings and effects. It lets you define multiple post-process settings for different parts of a scene. Of course, you can set a global volume to define global settings and effects. Create a new game object in the scene and add a volume component. The first option, Mode, defines if this volume will be a global or a local one. Blend distance is specific for the local volume. It specifies the distance from the volume bounds at which the settings begin to affect the camera. Set it to 0 and the settings and effects will kick in immediately as the camera enters the volume without any interpolation. Weight is the amount of influence the volume has on the scene. HDRP applies this multiplier to the value it calculates using the camera position and the blend distance. In the case two different volumes have an equal amount of influence on the camera, HDRP will prefer the one with the higher priority value. The volume profile is the asset that holds the settings and the effects that can be used by any volume. We will create one in a second, but first, let's check out the Add Collider button. Unless this is a global volume and affects the whole scene, you want to define the size of the set volume. You can do that by adding a collider. Simply click on this button and select the collider type you want to add, or add a new collider component. Since it is a regular collider, you can manipulate it as you would any other collider. Back to the volume profile. You can select one from the assets by dragging it to the field or using the picking tool. You will create a new one and start from scratch. Remove the collider and set the mode to global. You should see a message saying this volume profile contains no overrides and an Add Override button. You can add an effect and settings by clicking on this button.